We're going to go over Ricardo Gareca's 26-man call-up list for the Copa America 2021. A very controversial call-up list, a lot of surprises on the list. Stay tuned, subscribe, leave a comment, tell a friend to tell a friend, and let me know what you think. Blah. Here we go. Ricardo Gareca's 26-man call-up list. A lot of surprises. Let's start off with the goalies. Pedro Gallese, Carlos Cáceda, Jose Carvalho. Not much of a surprise there, your usual call-ups. In defense, you have Corso, Abraham, Gilmar Lora from Sporting Cristal, Ramos, which has made a comeback in the last two qualification games for Peru. He also holds a World Cup cap with the Peruvian national team, very, very essential in their qualification to the last World Cup. Anderson Santamaria, who has been called up. Gaines, who has been called up before. Miguel Araujo, who has been called up. Trauco, who has been called up. Marcos Lopez, another young player who has been called up in the last few years by Gareca. And Renzo Garces, which is a new name in the call-up list as well. What I do see here, though, we're missing Luis Advincula. Luis Advincula is fighting for the promotion to La Liga. His team, Rayo Vallecano, is currently in the second division of La Liga in the Spanish tournament. And I believe they're playing against this Sunday. Just double check this. They're playing a home and away game, I know that. And it's against Girona. The first game is this Sunday the 13th, and the second return game is on the 20th. So it looks like Gareca did him the solid by not calling him up and having the chance to play for that promotion to the first division. So that's one of the big surprises there on the list. Vincula's played a couple Copa Americas, usually a very prominent name on the call-up list for Gareca. Moving up to the midfield, Martin Tabara, who has been called up as of recently. Sergio Peña, who hasn't had a great season with FC Emmen, but he has played well from them. I believe they were able to save the division. Christian Cueva, which is one of Gareca's favorites. Cartagena, which has been able to maintain himself in the Argentinian league. I know he has played, I believe, for the Mexican league as well. Renata Tapia, who's absolutely killing it in Celta de Vigo. I believe his value or his pass has pretty much gone up in value about 200%. Andre Carrillo, very important piece. One of the most creative players that Peru has. Yoshimar Yotun, who has just been crowned champion in the Mexican National League, I believe, after 23 years, with also their head coach, Juan Reynoso, who's also Peruvian. Alexis Arias, who has been called up before, and Razel Garcia. If you look at the list, you could tell that there is no Pedro Aquino. Pedro Aquino, who has had a great season with Club America, who has been a very, very important player for Club America, has not been called up. So that is also a big surprise. I know by looking at this list so far that Gareca is trying to go with different players, and having Tapia and Arias, it looks like he's trying out new things. But Aquino, at this point, I don't know. It's one of your top players. I'm pretty sure Gareca has another reason besides trying new players that he hasn't called up Pedro Aquino. But it just makes you think, is Gareca looking to have another run at getting to the finals? Because they had been able to make it to third place in the last couple Copa America. So are they trying to at least get to the finals and at least give themselves a chance to win La Copa America this time? Or are they trying to try new players out for the qualification, which is a very, very, if not the toughest qualifications in the world for the World Cup? So a big surprise there. Pedro Aquino not being called up. In the forwards, you've probably already heard about this way before looking at this video. Guerrero is not on the call-up list, so big surprise there. but Santiago Ormeño has been called up. Santiago Ormeño, whose grandfather played for the Peruvian national team, had the chance of being called up by Tata Martino and Gareca. Ultimately, it looks like he will be taking the call up from Peru. He had hinted a couple of days ago when he signed to León that he was looking to get called up by La Verde, which means Mexico. So this is also a surprise, but I do hear from a lot of followers in the Mexican national team that Tata Martino does not normally like to call up players from La Liga MX. Luis Berico from Melgar, from the National League of Peru. Alex Valera from Universitarios, National League in Peru. And Gianluca Lapadula, who had a great game against Ecuador, probably the biggest catalyst in the win against Ecuador. Key in both plays. In the play with Cueva, giving him the assist, running up the line, able to hold the ball, able to have that defender backpedaling, which caused him to slip. And also on the play where he had with ADVINCULA with the 1-2, able to overlap against the Ecuadorian defender, receive the ball, pass it back, and you could still see him cutting into the box, asking to receive it again, but ADVINCULA finished how he was supposed to finish, with a lot of power, and was able to score the goal. So a lot of surprises. Ruiz Diaz. Yes, Raul Ruiz Diaz, the top scorer for Seattle Sounders, is not on this list either. That is a surprise, but not really. Ruiz Diaz, unfortunately, with the national team, he doesn't perform that well. And in part, it's not his fault. Gareca, I don't think, uses him appropriately. I don't think the team uses him appropriately. I know in his last game when he came up for Colombia, he was put in as a creative midfielder when they did decide to go with Lapadula, Guerrero, and Raul Ruiz Diaz, which Gareca was criticized heavily for that, because you have 3 9s there, but no creative player to feed you the ball. So I think in recent times, Gareca hasn't been fair to Raul Ruiz Diaz. A lot of the times, he has come in the second half as a substitute. He has played as a starting player for a few games, but I don't think the team kind of adjusts for him, or the team plays off of him very well. But also a surprise because he hasn't been on the list. And just looking at the comments here, Ruiz Diaz has been turned into that villain. People are saying that it's a good opportunity for Gareca to try out new players, asking about ADVINCULA and Ormeño, which I think a lot of people are happy that he's getting called up, because it has become a reality. Guerrero is getting older. He is coming off of an injury, and it is time to find a replacement for Guerrero, even though that is sad to say. Peru's first game in the Copa America, let's see here, is Thursday the 17th against Brazil in what looks to be Rio in the Nilton de Santos Stadium. After that, Peru has a game 3 days later against Colombia in El Olímpico, Estadio Olímpico. And then they play against Ecuador on the 23rd of June in the Estadio Olímpico as well. And they finish off the group with Venezuela and Mané Garrincha in Brasilia. So what I'm hearing is the national teams, CONMEBOL national teams, some are going to be concentrating in Brazil. They do have the option of concentrating or holding their camp in Brazil. I believe they're also giving them a chance. The CONMEBOL has also approved for them to have a bubble in their own country. I understand if Peru were to do that, because the distance between Peru and Brazil is not that much, but I do see that being a problem with other teams like maybe Argentina, maybe Chile, who are a little bit more southern teams and might not be able to travel to Brazil as easily. But it also is very strange. Like I said, this Copa America has been very controversial with everything that's going on in South America, with them not having access to the vaccine, with Brazil having a very high rate of infection. I believe they are the highest, if not one of the highest in the world. and the Copa America being switched around a couple times. I know originally it was supposed to be played in Colombia and Argentina. They did bring up the chance of it being played in Chile after Colombia and Argentina fell through because of everything that's going on there with the political unrest in Colombia and what's going on in Argentina as well. Chile was mentioned, but ultimately that fell through, and Brazil, with them being the last host, was able to host it, even though there was a lot of pushback from their citizens and local officials there, which is very understandable with everything that's going on in the world. So, very controversial list by Ricardo Gareca. We'll see what he's trying here. It's pretty clear that he's trying different names out, and I'm not really sure that he's trying to get to the finals. I'm pretty sure, and every coach would want to get to the finals, but it does look like he's trying different names, especially with the exclusions of, I think the biggest exclusion for me is probably Pedro Aquino. Guerrero, I understand. RUIDIAZ, I understand just from a production standpoint. And ADVINCULA, who is fighting the promotion for La Liga, is kind of understandable there too. Sounds like he's doing him a solid. But for me, the biggest question mark is Pedro Aquino. Why Pedro Aquino wasn't called up? Let me know what you think. Leave the comments below. Subscribe. Catch you on the next one.